Why being always accessible is destroying your value. Here's something that'll blow your mind. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. And most people are doing it completely backwards. Think about the CIA's counterintelligence operations during the Cold War. The most effective agents weren't the ones who were everywhere. They were the ghosts. The ones nobody could track, reach, or predict. They mastered what intelligence agencies call operational invisibility. They'd surface only when absolutely necessary, execute with precision, then vanish. And that unpredictability made them legends. Now, it's your life. You're probably reading this on a device that keeps you permanently connected. Slack, email, text messages, social media. You're accessible 24/7. And you think that's productivity? That's not productivity. That's self-sabotage disguised as professionalism. Behavioral economics has proven something fascinating. Humans assign value based on scarcity, not availability. It's why a limited edition sneaker costs more than a regular one, even though they're made in the same factory. It's why exclusive clubs have waiting lists. It's why the harder something is to get, the more people want it. But somehow, when it comes to our own time and attention, we act like we're running a clearance sale. The great chess masters understand this better than anyone. Garry Kasparov didn't win championships by playing every game offered to him. He won by choosing his battles with surgical precision. He'd study opponents for months, wait for the perfect moment, then strike when they least expected it. The rest of the time, he was unreachable, preparing, strategizing, building his mental arsenal in complete isolation. High performance isn't about being busy. It's about being selective. It's about understanding that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something extraordinary. When you're constantly accessible, you're telling the world, I have nothing better to do than respond to you, and the world believes you. So here's the brutal truth. If everyone can reach you anytime, you're not important. You're convenient. And there's a massive difference between the two. Drop in the comments, selective. Now tell me, what are you saying yes to that's destroying your value? If this is changing how you see availability, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. What if your absence is more powerful than your presence? Let me tell you about one of the most counterintuitive principles in negotiation psychology, the power of strategic withdrawal. In the world of high-stakes poker, the best players aren't the ones who play every hand. They're the ones who fold 80% of the time and go all in on the other 20%. They disappear from most battles to dominate the crucial ones. Phil Ivey, one of the greatest poker minds ever, built his reputation not on flashy plays, but on patient invisibility. He'd sit silent for hours, giving nothing away, then devastate opponents when they thought he was weak. This principle applies to everything. Steve Jobs had a famous technique called strategic absence. During critical product development phases, he'd completely disappear from public view. No interviews, no conferences, no updates. People would speculate, worry, even panic. And when he finally emerged with the finished product, the anticipation was so massive that the launch became a cultural event, not just a business announcement. But here's what nobody tells you about disappearing. It's not just external. The real transformation happens internally. When you remove yourself from the constant noise, your brain finally has space to think deeply. You shift from reactive mode to creative mode. You stop responding to other people's priorities and start building your own vision. Neuroscience backs this up completely. Studies on cognitive performance show that our best ideas come during periods of deliberate disconnection. Einstein did his most groundbreaking thinking during long walks where nobody could reach him. Charles Darwin spent years in isolation developing evolution theory. Tesla did his most revolutionary work in solitude. They understood something crucial. Innovation requires absence from distraction. The modern world has convinced you that being on all the time is a virtue. It's not. It's a trap. Every notification is someone else's agenda interrupting yours. Every meeting is someone else's timeline hijacking yours. Every quick response is you prioritizing their urgency over your importance. And the wild part, the more you disappear, the more people respect your time. When you do show up, You train people to value your presence by making it rare. You become the exception, not the rule. And exceptions get treated differently than regulars. Comment. Withdrawal. What's the one thing you need to disappear from to reclaim your mental space? Hit that. Like if you're realizing how much noise you're carrying. How the elite use silence as a weapon while everyone else talks themselves into irrelevance. Want to know the fastest way to lose a negotiation? Keep talking when you should be silent. There's a technique used by top-tier dealmakers called the pause that pressures. When a difficult question comes up or when someone's pushing back hard, instead of arguing or explaining, they just stop. Complete silence. They let the discomfort sit there. And here's what happens. The other person can't handle it. They fill the void. They start justifying, backtracking, offering concessions. All because of strategic silence. Chris Voss, former FBI hostage negotiator, used this to save lives. When kidnappers made demands, he wouldn't immediately respond. He'd go silent. Let them sit with their own words. Let doubt creep in. And that doubt, that space, that absence of reaction created cracks in their confidence. They'd start questioning themselves, lowering demands, making mistakes. Silence became his most powerful weapon. Compare that to how most people operate. They over-explain, overshare, overcommit. They think that talking more proves their value. It does the opposite. It proves their insecurity, because confident people don't need to constantly validate themselves through words. Look at how special operations forces train their operators. SEALs, Delta Force, SAS. These elite units spend enormous amounts of time in radio silence. They move through hostile territory for days without a single transmission. Why? Because communication creates vulnerability. Every time you transmit, you reveal your position. Every time you speak, you give information to your enemies. The truly dangerous operators are the ones you never hear coming. Apply this to your career, your relationships, your entire life. Every time you feel the urge to explain yourself, resist it. Every time someone baits you into an argument online, disappear instead of engaging. Every time you want to announce your plans, keep them quiet until execution. Because talk is cheap, and execution is expensive. And the people who do both simultaneously rarely accomplish either well. The world rewards the ones who move in silence and let their results make the noise, not the ones who make noise hoping it sounds like results. Type in the comments, silence. What's the one thing you need to stop explaining and just execute? Subscribe if you're learning that less talking equals more power. How to disappear from the noise and reappear as the signal. I'm about to tell you something that's going to piss off every social media guru out there. Constant visibility is killing your credibility. There's a reason why the actual power players, the ones making billion-dollar decisions, running global operations, controlling real influence, aren't on Twitter arguing about trending topics. It's not because they don't understand social media. It's because they understand something deeper. Exposure dilutes authority. Think about it. When something becomes too common, it loses mystique. The Federal Reserve doesn't broadcast every meeting. Intelligence agencies don't live stream operations. Presidential advisors don't podcast their strategy sessions. Why? Because scarcity of information is power. The moment you make everything visible, you lose leverage. But somewhere along the way, we got brainwashed into thinking that building a personal brand means being everywhere all the time. Posting daily, commenting on everything, sharing your morning routine. It's exhausting, and more importantly, it's ineffective for real impact. You're not building authority, you're building noise. The truly influential understand the concept of strategic opacity. They control what's seen and what remains hidden. They reveal enough to be interesting, but not enough to be predictable. They show results, not processes, outcomes, not struggles. They understand that people don't respect the journey when it's constantly documented. They respect the arrival. Look at how the most elite investors operate. They don't announce every trade. They don't explain their thesis in real time. They execute in private, and the market discovers their moves after they've already won. By the time everyone else knows what they did, it's too late to copy. That's the power of operating in the shadows. You need to start thinking like this. Stop broadcasting your every move. Stop seeking validation from people who won't remember you tomorrow. Stop confusing activity with progress. Instead, disappear into your work. Build something so undeniable that when you finally emerge, people have no choice but to pay attention. Because here's the final truth. The ones begging for attention never get respect. The ones commanding presence through absence get both attention and respect. And that difference changes everything. Drop a comment, signal. Share this with someone who's lost in the noise and needs to become the signal instead. Subscribe and hit the bell, because we're digging up secrets that change the game entirely. The strategies presented in this video are for educational and personal development purposes. Individual results may vary. Always adapt concepts to your specific context and circumstances.